don't think so. I think she
And then she called Cubans racist.
Speaking to and addressing the big elephant in the room.
What's the big elephant
between blacks and Latinos in America? If you go to Cuba, and those were Cuban podcast members, these were 2 Cuban women. In Cuba, there's always been a racial animosity rift between black Cubans and white Cubans in Cuba. This is a fact. In fact, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan addressed that same issue when he visited Cuba and met with Fidel Castro, because many of the black Cubans was asking the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to speak to Fidel Castro about the mistreatment of black Cubans in Cuba. Charles, you see that same dynamic in Colombia, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, where the black-skinned Latino is at the bottom and badly mistreated, but the white-skinned one is on top. In Florida and around America, I want Latinos to think about this, and black people. There was a famous white supremacist scholar in America who wrote a book in the 90s called Two Nations, Dr. Andrew Hacker. In that book, he wrote One Nation Black, One Nation White. And he spoke about the fear of genetic annihilation in America if black and brown birth rates continue to soar and white birth rates continue to go backward. He said that within 30 years, America would be majority minority, no longer white control or dominated.
I feel for the black community because I know what it feels like to be racially profiled. I didn't know it before, and I thought it was a little bit of a reach, but now I totally get it. That's what a man came out on here and said. And this is why we should believe victims. This is why we should believe people's stories. This is why we should have empathy. And this is why we should be able to put ourselves in other people's shoes. Because you thought it was a reach. That's what he said. He thought it was a reach when the black community said that they were being racially profiled and they were getting stopped for no reason. And like, it probably wasn't that serious. But now that Latinos are getting racially profiled, now he gets it. This is why empathy is so important, because you never know when the tables turn. And no, it shouldn't be transactional. It really shouldn't. You should believe people because you should think. You should be able to think outside yourself and be like, if that was me, I would hate that. I don't have to be black to realize that that freaking sucks. That what they go through, what they've experienced, sounds painful. That I can't even imagine the years of frustration and honestly, just freaking frustration and anger that they must feel. But guess what? Now Latinos get it. Now. And that is why we are in the situation that we are, because people don't feel for others until it happens to them.
I have addressed the racism within my own community. Let's talk about the anti-blackness that exists within the Latin American communities. So I wanted to take my time before I made this video. I knew it was coming, but I had to go out in, the field and ask my people what's going on. So this is what I concluded. When I went to go talk to them, they said that, we don't like African Americans because they feel that we owe them something. I want to make 2 things clear. First, I want to start off by saying that when we say things like this, we are following the same agenda that we are fighting against. We are fighting against white supremacy and racism. Those ideas that, that we have, the way we think, the way we are taught to fear African Americans, that is the same thing that we are fighting against. It's no different. When we choose to speak like this and participate in these stereotypes, we are no better than the people we are fighting against. And that is a point I want to make very clear to the people within my community, that you guys sound ignorant. We need to figure it out. Where do you truly stand with this? Because, people are right. You can't ask African Americans for help when this is in the real world. That is how they are treated.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, Africans. I hope you're faring well where you are. And if you're not faring well, please fare well where you are. The only place that will accept black people for who they are and how they are is Africa. Because Africa in itself is a continent of black people, right? In Africa, you see a black American walking. You won't tell if they are black, American, or they are African. We are all one people. If someone walks outside here, a Nigerian, a Senegalese, I don't see a Nigerian or Senegalese. I see a brother or a sister, or a dad or a mom. That is who I see, right? But in the United States of America and the countries surrounding it and the Caribbean, this notion is different, right? You understand the impact of colonialism. You understand the impact of slavery, right? It has left a syndrome that is always explained by Dr. Joy DeGray as PTSA, right? PTSA is post-traumatic slavery disorder, right? Or syndrome. This is whereby the impacts that was there during slavery are being manifested in form of racism, in form of prejudice, in form of colorism, in form of some kind of privilege and underprivilegedness of self, right? We have people who underprivilege themselves. And these people are people who are made to believe they are underprivileged, right? And so even if you find in a family, a parent, a mother and child might have children. Some children are having a certain skin tone. The parents may admire or may glorify some of the children who have the lighter skin tone over the ones who have a darker skin tone. Because over the years, we've been told this dark skin tone was bad because the dark skin tone was enslaved and the lighter skin tone was the one which was the master, right? So it's just a whole psychological thing that shapes the mind of these particular individual whom I say are brainwashed, right? There's this trending video whereby you find black Americans are being undermined, are being thrown racist chants and racist insults towards them, right? In Cuba. And you know how Cuba is. Cuba is having both shades of dark and both shades of light, of white skin, right? So, and brown, right? So I want us to dive into this video, listen to these brothers and sisters. I shall get back, of course, where we shall also have a deep critical analysis and a deconstruction. Let's dive in.
My second point. Reparations are owed to the African American community. Without them, we would not be able to vote. We would not be able to go to the same schools. We would not be able to sit wherever we want. Let's not forget. They have been fighting for a very long time, since they came here. And us not acknowledging, I know I don't feel that as a country we have paid the respect that they owe. They really do. We owe them everything. It's because of greats. They're great people. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., the Black Panthers, they paved the way for us. They are the blueprint. And for us to go and participate in the same mentality that we are fighting against, it's just horrible. And it's wrong. If we don't fix this type of mentality and check our people, we are no better than the people we are up against. I want you to know that ignorance is our greatest enemy. So please do not allow yourself to be blinded by hate. I love and respect everybody. And I just want to say that if there's more people in the Latin community who are with me, I need y'all to say something. I need y'all to join the fight with me, because I can't be the only one.
I seen a video where somebody was talking about black immigrants are saying that black Americans are becoming extremely xenophobic, becoming black nationalists, black supremacy type shit. They named 3 groups: FBA, which that's me all day. They named Hebrew Israelites, and then who, like Dr. Umar and them called the Pretendians. Those are the 3 groups that have become extremely xenophobic, black nationalists and some kind of black supremacists. But this is what I gotta say to that. First of all, number one, I used to be more of a Pan-Africanist, but I kind of changed my views because the disrespect from other black immigrants have been, or other black people in the world, period, not even just the ones that come to America, has been so loud the last couple of years and so extremely disrespectful, where these people are like ganging up together to gang up on black Americans. For the smallest shit, just take last month, a month or two ago, the South African thing with the people in New Orleans. It's 48 million black Americans. And it's only a handful of how many that's in New Orleans doing the Zulu parades. And they disrespected 48 million people for them handful of people that some black Americans didn't even know about the damn Zulu parade. We don't all even have anything to do with it. And them, they bringing up slavery, and they literally wishing death on us by talking about, I'm going to call the police to your house. They're going to come to your house. They're going to unalive you. You know, like literally wishing death on us. And for me, I don't really have Pan-Africanist views anymore, because I understand that everybody else sees us as different. And, you know, I understand that that's cool, whatever. I don't want, I do care about all black people in the world, as far as like, I don't want any harm. I don't wish any harm on any black people. And even though they wish harm on us, I don't want any black people to be hurt or like starving to death. You know, something that will hurt them. You know, I don't wish that on any black people. But as far as like coming out and thinking I'm going to get the hell beat out of me for Haitians or Africans or black Latinos who me no black, remember? I just wouldn't be willing to do that. I mean, because you're not being harmed. You're just being gently taken to the airport and given a free plane ride back to your country. They're not harming a hair on your head. So that's not nothing that I would be willing to go outside and get the hell beat out of me for. Because, for what? The disrespect being too damn loud. Absolutely not. I wouldn't be willing to do that. I'm not really feeling black immigrants right now. The disrespect been too loud for me. The slavery shit, no, I'm good. I'm not with it. I'm not marching in no street for that. Now, remember when those Texas police officers was on those horses and they was whipping them Haitians with whips, beating the hell out of them, hitting them in the face and every damn thing. Now, that's too far for me. I would have to speak out against that. That's too damn far. But just gently putting you on the plane and gently taking you back home, not harming you because you know you broke in here, you came in here illegally or whatever. No, I'm good. The disrespect been too loud for me. I'm not really even feeling black immigrants right now. But I don't want no harm to come to you, but nah, I'm good.
The stuff coming out about Kenny does not surprise me at all, because a Latino being anti-black, kind of on brand, honestly. And I'm like very pro-Latina, but like being pro-Latina is like calling out the shit within our community, and our community can be very anti-black. This is a perfect example, and this is why I don't blame black women for only wanting to date black men, because it's like they're like put in these like horrible situations. And this is also why I understand why black women kind of side-eye black men who only date outside of their race, because yeah, stuff like this, it's like a lot of times when it comes to non-black people, and I noticed this, I'm gonna clock it, I noticed this with a lot of Latinas, they'll fetishize black men, you know? It's like those types of Latinas that like say the N-word all the time and specifically only date black men and get box braids, you know what I'm talking about? But it's like, in the same breath, you do all that and then they're anti-black, or they don't call out the racism in their family and stuff like that. Like, it's just so, I don't know. And I'm not saying that like black people can't be prejudiced towards Latino, that doesn't happen. I get it, but like we're not talking about that. What we're talking about is there is a very like serious like issue within our communities of just being anti-black and colorist. That the whole saying of like, you know, when browner skin Latinos, like during the summertime when they're told like, oh, don't go outside, you'll get darker. Huh? Or hay que mejorar la raza. Huh? Or güeritos más bonitos. Huh? I think it's like we really need to make an effort as a community to start calling out our shit, okay? And honestly, I just feel so bad for Janae because she is such a beautiful, wonderful, that is a baddie, and she deserves so much better. So, yeah.
I absolutely hate Atlanta weather. But let's talk about anti-blackness in the Cuban community. To understand the anti-blackness within the Cuban community, you have to understand how we even got a Cuban community to begin with. And we can thank colonizers for that. Spanish colonizers, to be exact. Because you see, before the Spanish came to Cuba, what we know today as Cuba, there was a large indigenous population of Taino people. But it wasn't just Taino. I know I don't want to botch this name, but I might. There were the Seboni people and also the Guanahatabey people. Long story short, there were people there on the land of Cuba before the Spaniards decided that they were going to come here, mass murder everyone, and replace them with African slaves. And that's exactly what happened. But what you have to understand is even though they brought African slaves there, they brought slaves there as slaves, not to be members of society. So the only people who were walking around free and controlling shit were the Spaniards, essentially white people. So, you know, after a couple hundred years of that, you can definitely expect there to be a mixing of some bloodlines, mixing of some ethnicities, and that's how we got Cubans. Now, before I keep going, I don't want you to hear this and think, oh, all Cubans are racist. No, Cuba literally houses so many black revolutionaries from the civil rights era, we cannot ignore that. What I'm saying is, anti-blackness runs rampant through their community, though, including the Cubans, not to mention the Cubans in America, which is what this video will be about. But I just wanted to make this disclaimer because I don't want you to think that this is me saying all Cubans are racist. Absolutely not. Cuba has actually been one of the greatest allies as far as the entire Hispanic diaspora. They've been there for us. But it doesn't negate from the fact that they have a bad case of anti-blackness. Let's get back into it. Y'all, I will be speaking at the Juneteenth parade. I'll be speaking from 1:10 to 1:30 or 1:15 to 1:30. But just get there around 1 if you want to see me speak. And it's going to be at the Piedmont Park, June 14th, which is this coming Saturday at, like I said, 1 o'clock. Just get there at 1. I want you to enjoy the festivities. But anyway, let's get back into it. All right, now I'm pretty sure y'all heard the name Fidel Castro. Now, there is a lot of things you could say about Fidel Castro, but the bottom line is that he was a dictator. He did a lot good for his community, but he also did some bad. And this caused a lot of Cubans to flee Cuba. Because, I mean, back home, he was seizing land. He had successfully controlled the media. There was no free speech, food, medicine, and your typical fucking basic goods were becoming scarce.
African American community is the only community that has the power in this country to change anything. They are the only ones that are going to save the Latinos. And I clap for the African American.
Bravo, bravo. That's what they look at black people as. The help. Not as allyship, just disposable help. Someone that they could put in front of them as a shield. And that's why a lot of these white Cubans left Cuba. It's not necessarily because of politics or ideology. It's because of racial equality. Before the Cuban Revolution, they used to discriminate against black Cubans. It was legal. Black Cubans didn't have access to healthcare or education, and they lived in poorer conditions where they served the white Cubans. After the Cuban Revolution, all that changed. They start promoting racial equality. Black Cubans start having access to healthcare, access to education. And a lot of white Cubans, that made them feel uncomfortable. They were used to the old Cuba, where they had an upper advantage on the black Cubans. They're not going to bring this information up freely. That's why when she says save us, servitude, you're nothing but the help, disposable help. Make my white Cuban life a little bit easier and comfortable since our white savior, Trump, is the...
They said Cubans in Miami is not letting black women that's big in their clubs. They're not letting them in. They're refusing them service. They're saying they're too big and they're too dark. I repeat, Cubans are in Miami telling black women that's too big, they can't come in. Huh? I'm confused. Like, but y'all hate when we make it into a race thing. Why are y'all making it into a race thing? Y'all hate that when we talk about the issues. Why are y'all doing that? Why are y'all doing that? Like, I never been to Miami. I haven't been. Now, no, I'm not that big, but are you going to tell me I'm too dark? Probably. That's crazy. Like, I met some people that was from Miami before. They act stank as hell. Like, they do. They act like they shit do not stink. Like, they better than everybody.
Sitting while black in Florida.
I'm sitting outside, taking a break. A man rolled up in that truck and then rolled back, and he asked me what company I work for. I don't know who this man is. I did not feel comfortable giving him any of my information, and so now he just took a picture of me and is saying that he's gonna call the police. So so here we go. We'll see what happens. This man has a gun. He's now talking to my producer with a gun in his hand. So he's confirming the address with the police. I called my producer because I didn't feel comfortable leaving. A lot of times in these situations, if you leave, you're still in a bad situation. So he has a gun, it's in a holster, and he's talking now to my producer who had to call. As a rule, I don't give out information, any of my personal information, to someone that I don't know.
You know, it is very sad, and it breaks my heart when I see people who look like you. It's only that they may be having a lighter shade, think that they are better, think that they are more human, think that they are beautiful than you, just because of the skin color, right? And they're forgetting that we have a saying that goes, beauty, yes, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, right? This is one thing that they forget very well. Beauty someone can see a black woman, very black, very dark, and they love them. And I see these particular white people, they really love dark women, they really love them. But we black people who might be having lighter skin shade undermine these people who have darker skin shade. And that's the problem in this video, right? These specific Cubans hate on themselves. They hate on the darker Cubans. Yes. And Cuba is a country which is not so rich. It's a poor country. I'm saying this because Cuba, the United States of America had placed sanctions from the times of Fidel Castro up to date. The sanctions that were placed by the US had lowered the economic status of Cuba. Remember also Cuba welcomed communism, which was something the capitalist USA was not welcoming, right? That's just a whole new story. But the idea is that Cubans who are lighter are undermining other Cubans and also black Americans, right? This is one thing that happens. They are playing the game of the oppressor. They are playing the game of colorism. They are playing the game of slavery. They are playing the game of systemic racism and individual racism, right? Cuba itself is a colorful country. Havana itself, we are shown in the TV how beautiful it is. We love the art, we love the culture, we love the car culture over there, those really old cars, very unique to Cuba. But the dark side is how these Cubans who are, you see, brainwashed are thinking that other Cubans and other black Americans, and black Americans in totality, I believe so, are not equals, and they are trying to mistreat them. So how then do we call for unity? How do you call for unity if you think you're better than another person? You see, two can only walk if they are in agreement. Two can't walk if they are not in agreement. If you see next time you see two people walking, you know those people have agreed. Doesn't matter what the agreement is, but they have agreed, and that's why they are working together, right? And also the blind can't lead the blind. If that happens, both of them will fall into a hole, and they might break themselves and perhaps die. Perhaps, right? So we can't continue singing the song of slavery. We can't continue singing the song of colorism. We can't continue singing the song of mind washing or brainwashing. And yet, we want to call for unity. It can't happen. We can't sing separation and we want to call for Pan-Africanism, black unity, and Black Lives Matter. If there's division among ourselves, black lives really don't matter. Last time I checked, Cuba is a country with all shades of colors. It's there, it exists there. So if you undermine the ones with the darker shades and you undermine those from the from the bigger country, USA, coming to your country, and they look like you, but you undermine them, that's not right. It's never right at all. Yes. That is my thought. I really want you to share your thoughts, what you think about this disturbing situation. I really want to hear what you have to say. Yes. And kindly share your thoughts in the comment section, because your thoughts are really, really important in discussing this. Yeah. And also, if you have gotten any value, consider subscribing. It helps me bring you better and good content. See you in the next one. Stay African. Love yourself.